Hey everyone, Emily here and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be trying another recipe that I found on the internet, and I've been seeing this one all over my TikTok. Really, I've been seeing nothing but these British roast dinners, and the roast potatoes in particular look amazing. They're super crispy and they don't look too hard to throw together. I found a recipe online. We're going to give it a try and see how it turns out. Let's get started. We're gonna get started by peeling our potatoes. I have about 2 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes. You can use whatever type you prefer. I'm going to give these a peel and then cut them into cubes, the size that you would want to eat, and then pop these right into a pot. I feel like these Yukon Gold potatoes or red potatoes would probably be your best bets just because of the texture, but russet potatoes would probably work just fine. I have these all peeled up, so now I'm just going to cut these into about 1-inch cubes, somewhere between a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Nothing too small, but you don't want them to be too big either. Pop these right into your pot that you'll be boiling them in. Now, I think the boiling is really what's going to make these so good. They look so soft and fluffy on the inside, and they're just so crispy on the outside. And I've never tried to boil my roasted potatoes before, so I kind of think that that's going to be the trick to making these so amazing, or so unreal, as everyone's calling them on British TikTok. I have my pot of potatoes here. I've covered them in cold water. I am going to generously salt this and then boil this on the stove until they're fork tender. That should be about 10 minutes. My potatoes have been cooking for about 10 minutes on the stove. I've drained these. They're still really steamy and hot, and you know they're ready when you can easily pierce them with a knife or fork. So for the next step, we're gonna leave these in the pot and just kind of toss them around and get the outside nice and fluffy. Apparently that's what's going to crisp up really nicely in the oven. So I'm going to pop the lid back on and just give these a shake. This is exactly the texture that we're looking for right here. You can see how the outside is just nice and fluffy. That's going to grab onto all of our seasonings and also crisp up really nice in the oven. So the next step is to season this. So I'm going to start by adding in a decent amount, maybe a little over a teaspoon of fresh chopped rosemary. I'll pop in about a teaspoon of salt, a few shakes of onion powder. I have this herb mixture here. It does have a little bit more rosemary in it, but also some sage and marjoram. It'll be really nice, all roasted up. And finally, a few cracks of black pepper. I'll give this a toss and coat everything evenly. I'm also going to add in some garlic, but I'm going to hold off until this has about 15 minutes left to cook in the oven so we don't burn the garlic. Now we're going to add our potatoes into our pan. So I've had my oven preheating to 400 degrees, and while it was preheating, I melted a couple tablespoons of butter into my pan. To that, I'm going to give a good coating of olive oil. You want a really good coating of oil or fat in the pan before you add in your potatoes. In most of the TikToks that I've been seeing, they use duck fat or goose fat. I didn't have any on hand, so olive oil and butter should work just fine. And now I'm going to carefully add in my potatoes. Don't need to toss them around just yet, but I am going to make sure that everything is making contact with the bottom of the pan. That's what's going to crisp this up. And now I'm going to pop this into my 400-degree oven. It's going to bake for an hour, and every 20 minutes, I'm going to toss this. My potatoes have been going for 40 minutes, which means I am about to do my last toss with them. So I'm going to add in my garlic. I have 2 cloves of minced garlic here. Give this a mix and toss it all together. And you can already see just how crispy these potatoes are starting to become. These are ready to go back into the oven. They have another 20-30 minutes at the most, and these are gonna be done. These just finished baking and they do look super crispy. These smell amazing. Take a look at that. I'm gonna let these cool off for just a minute, and then I'm gonna do the crispy potato test that I keep seeing, and we'll see if these are literally unreal. These have had a few minutes to cool off and they are still super hot, but I feel like I have to do the potato test that everyone does, so let's see how crispy these are. Ooh, so hot. I don't know how they do it. Whew. But it is super crispy. Now the only thing left to do is to give this a try, and I have a feeling that these are gonna be amazing. They are unreal. These roast potatoes are so good. I'm not gonna make them any other way moving forward. I think the boiling first really makes a huge difference. These are so soft on the inside and so crispy on the outside. You could season these however you like, but just add the garlic during the last 15-20 minutes of baking so it doesn't burn. These are so amazing, the best roast potatoes I've ever had. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell icon so you can get notified every time I post. As always, you can find the full recipe to this in the description box down below, and if you want to see more recipes that I found on the internet, check out this playlist that I've linked over to this side. Leave a comment if you have a suggestion for the next recipe that I should try, and I hope to see you back here next time. Good boy.